Well, it's Monday, my friends, and good to see you. Um, Boy, I'm telling you, it's nice to be on this side of last week, but I have a feeling it's going to get a little busier. We have now entered into Holy Week, and for pastors, it's a busy time. It's like the Super Bowl. Well, the Super Bowl took place in one day, but the Super Bowl of Sundays or worship services for pastors. It's a crazy time, but also it's a good time. It's a good time to enter into this space with Jesus. Hi, Susie. It's a time to enter into this space with Jesus and join him on his walk to Jerusalem. My mind was full from this past week already and coming off of worship service last yesterday and trying to think of where to go with the scriptures. Every Monday at 11:30, the congregation and the people in the congregation and I, are doing this Bible study on our with our time together on Zoom. And this week we are studying Sabbath, and there are several readings that we are doing. And so I'm gonna read from the first reading that we are asked to read to dig deep into what it means to be in Sabbath. Um, it comes from Genesis, and of course, this comes from this is the second chapter of Genesis. Prior to that, not Jesus, but God has created the world in 6 days according to this author. And so on the first day, light was created. On the second day, the dome over um, the dome in the midst of the waters and separated the waters from the waters. So God made the dome and separated the waters. And then on the third day, God created dry land and vegetation. On the fourth day, God created lights. Lights in the dome of the sky, like the stars and what we see as the moon and the planets. On the fifth day, God created the birds and the fish. On the sixth, animals and humankind. That's a busy week. When I think of my week, nothing compares to what God has done in working to put together creation. It gives me a moment of pause to think of all that God has done for us. And so, as I'm starting to settle my mind, believe it or not, it's a Sunday morning. It is 9:34, but my mind has been full already this morning. I don't know about you. So here in Genesis 2, there are three verses I'm going to read for you in on the heels of what God has done by creating this wonderful world of ours, this whole universe, and thinking about all God has done in the busyness um, of what I can even conceive that to be. We get to chapter 2. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished in all their multitude. And on the seventh day, God finished the work that he had done. And he rested, or she rested, on the seventh day from all the work that had been done. So God blessed the seventh day and hallowed it, because on it God rested from all the work that God had done in creation. Sabbath is mentioned in Genesis. In our Bible study today, we are going to be reading this and discussing it, and also Exodus and Matthew. We're going to be progressing through what it means and what we are exploring what God means to be in Sabbath, in a time of rest, in a time to rest with God. Now, I've got to be honest with you, you guys. This is a crazy time for me. And my mind, I can't shut it off. I don't know about you. Hi, Clay. How are you doing? Oh my goodness. Hi, friends. But Clay, you're wow. You're chiming in somewhere very far away. So prayers going with you. So in your world right now, Where do you find Sabbath? Where do you find a time to rest? Even when I sit down on the couch with my family to just watch a TV show, I don't find it very restful. The commercials hit me, and the on-air promotions about COVID-19, they're constantly in my face. My laptop is next to me as I supposedly am resting and watching a little TV with family. And I'm reading and I'm planning and I'm writing down and I'm jotting down notes about things I don't want to forget to do in my day. So where is rest happening? This commitment I made for devotion, for online devotion, for myself, to be with God and to be with you, has caused me actually to slow down. And I'm grateful for that. This is my Sabbath this morning. When heavens and earth were finished. And I'm thinking, God, when does it finish for me? Do you think that? Do you think, when is it finished? You know, when do things slow down? I've heard people joke, oh, when I die, when I'm 6 feet under. Well, no. When is it finished? My to-do list is long. How about yours? On the seventh day, God finished the work that he had done, and he rested from all the work that he had done. Can we look back on the work we've done, perhaps, as I'm starting to... Hi, Denise. Oh, love you so much. Miss you. Can we rest in the midst of the work that needs to be done? Can we rest from the work that was done and take a breath and appreciate all that God has helped us get through up till this point? Where can our rest come from? The two questions that come with this reading for our Bible study coming up on at 11:30 are these. So how do you find yourself responding to this unwelcome slowdown in life? This slowdown in life? How has it slowed down for you? We're slowed down in a way that we cannot operate the way we used to. I cannot be busy about driving to Oshkosh. But you know what I loved about that? You know where I found Sabbath in my 20-minute drive to Oshkosh every day? It was quiet time. I could listen to a podcast, or I could have the radio off, and I could be still and kind of gear into my day. When I'm home here and I've created all this work around me, where do I give myself time for this? Here in devotion is where I'm giving myself that time. So what thoughts and emotions do you experience with this shutdown thanks to COVID-19? What fears are you aware of at this time? During this time of Sabbath, we can actually become in tune with our emotions and our frustrations and our fears. I am close to a few people who have real fears, legitimate fears about this time regarding their health, what's going on with them, fears that maybe they may not have access to good health care because so much is going on in the hospitals and with our doctors today. So where are you in your own fears? It says here, God rested in Genesis 2. It's all about filling a sacred space with his divine presence, or God's divine presence, and celebrating the beauty and abundance of creation. When I'm busy, I forget to look out the window. There are two chickadees out on this tree that have been trying to peck at the windowsill and trying to make a home within the structure of our house. Now, my husband has closed that off with some sheet metal or some kind of siding. But have we looked out our windows to notice that there is God's creation that God created out there? And can we rest in that? Can we rest in the work that God has done versus the work we have done. Whoa, that's pretty big for me. Maybe Sabbath isn't resting in what I have done, because if I focus on the work I have done, I start spinning again and thinking about all I still need to do. Wow, can I rest in the work God has done? Can I rest looking around at creation? Can I rest in realizing the people God has created all around me and be thankful for that? Can I rest knowing that God has got this? The Sabbath practice is a way for humans to remember God's presence and God's ideal purpose for creation. This study helps me today. And the question is posed, what are some of the simple things you're grateful for? Who can you share that with this week? Well, I'm sharing it with you. I'm grateful that I can look out. I see the lake I take for granted that I have lakefront property. I don't have a fancy house, but I have a beautiful scene. The geese, the ducks, the swans are out, the birds. Oh my goodness, the robins have multiplied. I put bird seed out and they're finally discovering the bird seed, all the birds in the neighborhood. And my dog, my 12-year-old puppy, gets excited when she sees the sunlight outside. She just wants to bask in the warmth. Can I rest in this? Can I rest in the beauty around me, the people around me, the things I forgot to notice about them? So what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for the view today, my friends. If you've not noticed, I started out this study rambling rather quickly, a little out of control, stumbling to see how I'd start the study, looking at my Bible, trying to get my head wrapped around the text. What I'm noticing is I've slowed down. I've slowed down in God's Word. I've slowed down as I really began to rest in it. This is how we enter into Sabbath. Hi, Sue. So what's on your plate today? What worries do you have today, my friends? I've been reaching out to people because I need help in trying to figure out all the messiness in my brain. Reaching out to people to help me sort out those tasks I have on my new desk here, this table in the midst of this spare bedroom, which I call now my office. Where is your Sabbath time? Maybe it's not a full day. In fact, I'm finding to take pockets of time to be with God, and then God is pointing me to restful views, restful breaths. I think about somebody in my congregation who teaches meditation. And I'm thinking about, how are there times in my day that I can just be reminded to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, and realizing that the creation God created is also me and this body of mine. How can I go into Sabbath using this body to help me find that restful place, to breathe deeply, take a walk, to find the time to do that? Sometimes I say to myself, I can't find the time. Maybe tomorrow. But here's where it begins again. Here's where it begins for me. Allowing God's word to work in me. Allowing God's word to sink in. Allowing God's word to still the busyness in my mind. Thank you for being patient with me this morning as I'm actually trying to still my mind so I can enter into this day that the Lord has made. This day that is a gift. This day that is not only little blocks of time on my calendar that scream out at me, you must accomplish this. You must speak to this person. You must do this. Something I need to check off. But instead, can this day be a day that unfolds for us in a beautiful way, in a way where we find our pulse slowed down, in a way in which we can breathe in between those moments of busyness and be present with God. I get it now, God. I get it. May I come back to you each and every day, allowing you to do good work in me and my friends here. I hope this week, this Holy Week for you is a good one. It is a restful one, that you find times to commune with God. As we walk this walk with Jesus to Jerusalem now, he is there. He is inside the city. He is most vulnerable. He is getting ready to say goodbye to friends, to allow himself to be persecuted and killed. Can we walk along with Jesus, feeling his vulnerability, God's vulnerability, and to be comfortable with our own, allowing ourselves to grieve that we cannot go all the places we want to go, be with all the people we want to be? Can we grieve with Jesus in our vulnerable moments? Find peace in it, knowing that God is in the midst of that. God, who's created everything, has created a moment like this for us to take this stroll with Jesus, to be aware of this hard journey of his, this intentional walk that was done for you and me because we are loved. We have purpose. There is joy in that moment. That moment, that uncomfortable moment of being vulnerable. When my phone is going off and I have no idea who's calling me, to still find time of rest, to appreciate all that God has done for us, not only in the world that we see, but in Jesus, and what this Holy Week really truly means for us as believers. Have a good week, my friends. Have a good day. Have a good next 5 minutes, whatever that may be. Resting in the promise of what God has done for you and me. Make it a good one. I'll see you tomorrow.